Hi, welcome to the channel. Today we are doing a reading on the voice of intuition, the voice of logic, not ready yet, and how to harmonize the two of them. We're using the Mystical Oracle deck. And this is reading 3 with this deck. So every month I do 4 different readings with the same deck. Different messages, all that jazz. All right, let's get into it. The voice of intuition. Just one card, please. Ooh. Open on back. The spiral. The voice of logic. One card, please. It's upside down. The standstill. Yes, that's what it says. And the nope. How to harmonize them between the two. Ooh. The ghost stance. See that? So for these, I'm going to read what the cards say in the book because the book messages or what the book says kind of has its own message, and then I want to interpret what I get from that and what else I'm seeing possibly in this. So let's get the book. And let's start with Voice of Intuition, which is this card. Number 50. All right. The spiral. The essence. From galaxies in the sky to diminutive shells at the beach, the spiral is found extensively in the natural world. Its shape in the form of a coiled serpent has been used since ancient times as a tool for growth and transformation. The spiral is a guide for entering deep into one's consciousness and the unknown, and then extending far out to the heavens. It is crucial to surrender to this journey until the exhausted paradigm dissolves in the depths of the psyche, and its energy is released to give birth to a new reality. Ooh. The invitation. To renew yourself, you must shed your old skin. You have already done this, so do not keep scraping away at the old, but welcome the new soft skin that is starting to grow. Break the habit of working on your faults all the time, and let nature take its course. Know that a new skin feels vulnerable and scary at times. Trust the medicine of the spiral as it guides your journey of renewal. Kind of like a rebirth, it makes me think of, especially with this being your intuition, like you are changing, and change is scary. Doing something new is scary, right? And it kind of makes you feel vulnerable and that you're at the mercy of like a lot of unknown, right? But it's saying like your intuition will guide you through this. Trust the process is leading you somewhere, and don't try to pick at what's what I'm trying to find. Like it says don't look at your faults and try to correct them now. Kind of just move through the process. So don't try to, I guess, like put force in the system maybe, and just trust that you are becoming what you are meant to become, right? Let this play out and see what the end result is. Let's get some clarifiers for the spiral, please. Spiral. Interesting that would tie to intuition. Your intuition is like there's change happening, right? Trust the change, trust the process. We just had that Scorpio full moon that was supposed to be pretty intense for people. It's like you're owning your truth, you're speaking to truth, you're okay. I want to come out. You are interesting. What I got from Scorpio full moon, like the messages, I watch a lot of like different things on the astrology, and it was kind of saying like you are no longer not being true to yourself in a sense. That's what Scorpio full moon is supposed to bring out, right? It's supposed to bring things to light, make you see things differently. You're responding to things differently. You're honoring yourself, right? Maybe these two are tied together. Not saying it's full moon that's causing it, but saying like it's kind of the idea of like you are changing and let yourself move through that process. Don't try to stop yourself or dismiss parts of yourself. Just let yourself go through this and experience it. Trust that you know where you're going and your intuition knows where you're going. All right. So for the spiral, we have the Queen of Vessels, the Ancestor, the Seven of Arrows, and the Shaman. Okay. So I want to say immediately I get like there's something changing regarding matters of the heart. The Queen of Vessels, which is the Queen of Cups, is like, the Queen, she has a cup, she's emotionally strong, she knows what drives her, she knows what she's worthy of, what's worthy of her, right? And I feel like there's change happening in this. It's almost like this is making me think that the change happening is like when it comes to matters of the heart, right? That could be relationships, partnerships, marriages, whatever. I feel like there's a shift happening here. And it might not be that there's like, endings to it, more so that you are understanding who you are, what you want, what you need, what you deserve in this partnership. And that's changing, right? It's like a new lens has come up. And you're kind of like, what are my wants and needs regarding this? And this change is something that's bound to happen, right? It's a path you're meant to walk. And so maybe before you weren't speaking up to what you needed, you weren't voicing it, or you were just possibly like, it's okay, I don't need to speak to that, it's fine. But now you're in a space where you're changing, and that change is bringing up things like the lens is there, you can't unsee what you've seen, and you're not moving in a space of like being unsure and secure about this. Like you're kind of in your truth, and you're moving in your truth, and you're speaking to your truth, and not in any manner that is like aggressive. It's just like you're speaking from the heart, you're speaking from truth of what you need. And I'm assuming that hasn't been done, and this is the change for you. This is the spiral you're on. You're learning to like honor and respect and speak up for yourself regarding what you need. And yeah. And I feel like you're learning to use this. It's like a new thing for you. Like you're not fully comfortable in this yet. You're learning this new skill, learning how to speak truth. Maybe that might be speak your truth regarding matters that affect you. Being honest about where you stand with things, being honest about how you feel with things, being honest about what you need, being honest about what you can give, right? Just being in truth with yourself and offering that up to others. That is the journey that you're on right now. And trust it, right? If it's here for a reason. Trust this and your intuition, because your intuition will guide you through this, right? Like I said, this is a path that had to be walked, and you're learning it as you're moving through this. Something that you'll come out of where you'll have an understanding of how to do this in the future. But right now, it's like a brand new tool. So like that whole idea of like, new skin is vulnerable and all that. You're vulnerable in learning how to work with this and use this, and how this moves through you, but also how it works in dynamic with others, right? How to communicate this and build on this new, what's the word I'm looking for? New truth that you're standing in. So yeah, that's very interesting. Let's get the voice of logic now, which is this standstill card. And this one is number 52. 52. Okay. When standstill appears as a symbol of pausing, the act of observation and a breathing space. It represents the benefit of temporary non-action as well as what happens when one is stuck. Time to get out of analysis paralysis. Standstill invites you to turn within, breathe, and recognize this is the condition of a moment. It allows you the opportunity to bear witness to whatever is going on before the moment resumes. This is also an opportunity to abort a project or exit before damage. It may also be time to relieve you, and it may also be a time to relieve you of an unnecessary burden that you took on without considering the cost. Which one it is depends on your stopping, taking a breath, quieting your mind, and removing all your distractions. Then you can make your next move in a grounded, relaxed, detached way. When something doesn't go the way you think it should, remember the following. What is yours cannot be taken away. Okay. So intuition is kind of saying, like, you're going into this journey. You're going into this journey where you are learning to stand in your truth, speak your truth, and learning how to move in that energy for yourself and amongst others, right? This one speaks about like being in a state of pause before action, like really thinking things through before you move on them, which I think is a good thing, in the sense of like, with the intuition card, I was speaking of speaking your truth, right? And I said we're in the Scorpio full moon. And to give an example, on Friday, I was working and I had a couple calls with clients, and people were just telling me their truth. They were like, and not in a mean way, right? Like not in an aggressive, attacking way, but just like, let me tell you how I feel about this thing. It was a very interesting, but also kind of fun day. People were just popping off, telling me how they felt about things. But again, not in a way where they were attacking me or I felt attacked. They were just like word vomiting their truth of how they felt about something, right? In a very non-aggressive but truth standing manner. It was kind of entertaining. I had like 3 or 4 like that. And I was like, people are just speaking how they feel today. And I kind of feel like intuition is saying, just go out there and lay it all out, right? But there's also the piece in communication. We have to make sure that it's being communicated in the manner that you want, because communication can come out in multiple different ways, right? If you're sending text messages right away, if you're doing a voice memo, the tone of voice can be, misconstrued. If you're standing in front of somebody and you're trying to explain, you're getting fired up, but you're not meaning to, right? There's all these ways that communication is processed, is what I'm trying to find. We're taking in, like, if we're standing with a person, body language, tone of voice, eye contact, right? Energy, all these different pieces. And so I feel like logic is saying, like, before you go on and speak your truth, just take a pause. Take a pause, quick pause, just to make sure that you're conveying it in a way that is also true, right? Because emotions can get under our communication and change the way we're trying to deliver something to someone. And so this, while intuition is like, speak your truth, and yes, do that. Logic is like, speak your truth, but just pause a second to figure out how you want to deliver that and then speak it. That way it gets conveyed correctly to whomever you are providing this communication to, right? Can I get a card for clarification for standstill, please? Stand still. Stand still. Stand still. 8, 9. Stand still. Wolf. Stand still. Oh, more. Please describe my thing. Sorry. All right. So we have. I can see all those. Yes, very clear. My big old shirt. Anyways, we have the 8 of bows, the 9 of vessels, the King of stones, and the 7 of cups. So this ties back to the spiral again. I'm not keep going back there, but like, and we'll have to see what Ghost Dance says for harmonizing these, but I feel like this was speaking of, the truth, speaking the truth, being in truth, sharing your truth with others, right? Speaking your honest truth about how you feel about something, how you're doing something, just, what you can and can't do, all of that, what you need and don't need, right? What you can give and can't give. Stan's talking about a pause, just making sure the communication is coming out correctly, and that like just different things in the way communication perceived is not jumbling the communication you're trying to deliver, which is your truth. Because I think this truth speaking is not meant to like blow up things, right? Like it's not supposed to be doing like tower or And also, again, couldn't lead to endings, but it's not like an aggressive truth speaking energy. It's just like you communicating how you feel. Like, for example, let's say you get into a fight with somebody and you're both yelling, and then you're just like, you're not yelling anymore. You're just like, look, this is why I feel this. This is why I'm saying this, right? You kind of take it down into a true space rather than like an aggressive space. This is kind of what that is. It's just you communicating in a manner, the truth of what you're feeling. It's not a right? It's not that. It's just like a very soft, I'm honoring myself and I'm speaking to truth. Because I think you want to build your connections with others and yourself through this journey you're on of learning this tool and how to put it to use and how to develop it in your life, right? And how to bridge with people through this communication of yours that is your truth being spoken. And I think that's an easy thing, right? Like, there's so many aspects that keep us from speaking our truth. We kind of tend to be like, oh, maybe they can't hear that, or oh, maybe that will be misunderstood, or oh, I don't want to upset this person, right? So we kind of shift what we need to say in a way to sometimes meet the person or people we're communicating with on their level. Because we feel like maybe speaking our truth might cause some sort of, possible conflict. Maybe not. But you're doing this now. You're in this. This is the journey that you're on. And I think it's meant to strengthen for those who will hear you, right? And you can proceed with this how you want. For those who won't, do what you want with that. I'm not here to give advice. For those who will, that's even better, right? You're looking to build stronger connections with those by speaking your truth, right? I think it also goes into them being allowed to speak their truth too. It's kind of that thing of like, when you do it enough, it filters into other people, right? Like, they see you doing it and they do it, that ripple effect. But this is something you're still learning, and it's a process that you have to get used to. And so that's why this standstill is here, because logic wants to make sure that you're not blowing up those connections. That's not the purpose of this gift, right? This gift is to speak your truth and see how it is received. And taking that breath allows you to, like, okay, let me speak to you about what I needed to speak to you about, right? And keep that balance in how the communication is being delivered. Not saying it won't always be calm and mellow, right? Like, where people, sometimes things just blow up out of us, and that happens. No right or wrong about it. But this skill is to build deeper with those you care about, but also with yourself, right? Because you're also changing a dynamic to yourself. You're telling yourself, okay, I hear you, I feel you, I'm going to honor you, and I'm going to either share that out or speak to the truth of that, right? It's a tool used for not only, like I said, communication with others, but also just you putting back into you and honoring yourself. But there's a lot in this. There's a lot in learning this and using this and building with this. And so take your time with this. You are learning this still. So don't beat yourself up. One day at a time. It's a foundation you're still building for yourself, because this is just possibly just started, or you're just gotten into the mix of it. And you're on this journey with this new tool, right? So give yourself grace, give yourself kindness. I got the message also to those you're speaking with, right? Because if you haven't been speaking to your truth, give them some grace too, because they might not know where this is coming from. I was like, this is just like, take it or leave it, but like, maybe intro with like, hey, I am trying to do this thing where I am being truthful to how I feel and what I think, and communicating that. And so in that sense, I'm going to now let you know where I stand, right? That way they have a heads up if you feel that's needed. If there's a person or relationship or whatever dynamic where you need to like intro with that, and so they're aware, and be like, this is what I'm gonna be doing going forward. I'm just trying to give you a heads up of how I'm trying to do this moving forward. So they're aware and they can respond, and I'll be caught off guard, like, where is this coming from, right? If you intro with, I'm trying to be true to myself and speak my truth, and in that energy, I want to say XYZ, right? Give them some grace too, because this is also a change for them as well. That makes sense. All right. Lastly, how to harmonize these two. So we kind of talked about that already, but let's see what Ghost Dancer has to offer. And she is number 22. It's one of my favorites. It's kind of like smoky. You can see it there. She's upside down in the actual, how she came out. So, okay. The ghost dance of the American Plain Indians united the spirits of the world with those of the ancestors to bring peace to the world. When the ancestors are honored, they bring harmony to us. When we hold them responsible for all that is wrong with us today, they haunt us. Honor the spirits of the ancestors and receive their lessons and gifts. This includes honoring your own past lives. If you are trapped in a vicious cycle of nostalgia, mourning a loss, or opportunity miss, it is time to make an altar for the ancestors. Collect a few photos, light some incense, offer sage, and open with the windows of your house to release them to their destiny and to the wind. Be wary of being snared in a relationship with someone from a past lifetime, as the people we loved or hurt may have a way of reappearing in our lives. This is no learning for you there. Oh, there is no learning for you there anymore. That's interesting. I think it's on a different level than what I got from it. Take these messages from the cards or leave them when I read the book. What I'm getting from this is like when it spoke to like honoring the ancestors, I think to honoring yourself. This is something new that you're using, and so whenever you're doing something new and you're having to like find the way or learn the way of it and like learn what works and what doesn't and the bumps in the road, right? It's a whole process. And this is a pretty personal one. It's not like you're learning how to drive a car, right? You're learning how to hear yourself and then how to communicate that out into the world to then get information back from that, right? Your truth out there is a vulnerable thing. And so I think this is more so speaking to making sure that you care for yourself. I'll look at it, I'll put back in. I wasn't asking for anything yet. Making sure that you care for yourself and take care for yourself while you're in this process of using the intuition and the logic to apply this new tool or skill, right, on this new journey that you're on. Because in this reading, both of these are important. You know, like sometimes you do like a head and heart versus reading, and like the head is like, we don't need to do that, and the heart is like, we have to do this, right? And you're kind of like, maybe one of these is what needs to be done and one isn't. In this reading, though, it's more so that like these two, the intuition and the logic, are working in harmony for you. The intuition is saying truth time, and logic is saying, yes, truth time, but make sure it's coming out in a way that you actually want it to be communicated. Don't just truth bomb, right? Go out and just dropping bombs on people. Truth bomb, right? Like make sure that take the pause prior to sharing to have it delivered in the way that you want it, right? If it's supposed to be a truth bomb and you wanted that to hit that way, then yeah, let it hit that way. But if it's not supposed to be a truth bomb, and it's supposed to be more of like, I'm just honestly trying to honestly communicate with you. Take that pause to make sure it's coming out correctly, right? And maybe even use that intro of like, hey, this is something new that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be honest about how I feel or how I receive this, and I want to, speak to that. And so, yeah, these are harmonized to support you in this process. You need to use intuition and the logic in tandem for this journey that you're on regarding truth and honoring your truth. Let's see what Ghost Dancer has. Ghost Dancer, please. Ghost Dancer, please. Okay. Ghost Dancer, please. Interesting. Okay. These are all, except for that one. I was about to say these are all upside down. And then, of course, the last card came out right side up just because that's how it works for me. All right. That's what you think? Just kidding. It's not what it is. Oh, okay. I was wrong. Anyways, 3 of bows upside down. King of Bows, upside down. Oh, Ace of Stones, yep, upside down. And the Three of Stones. Okay, so there's not a lot of like, there's no more waiting. And this energy is not like aggressive fire energy, right? It's more calm. We had the cups or the vessels for this. It's like more water energy, right? Heartfelt emotion of that nature. And it will lead to you moving through life in a different way, but you're just starting to build that. So the foundation's not laid yet. But you are kind of giving yourself over to this and how to apply it and how to use it. You're no longer like holding yourself back, but you're also not, like I said, running into this in a way that is like fire energy, right? It's, think of like a little creek, right? And it's flowing through the rocks, right? As you're learning this, you're trying to communicate with this. Maybe the waters get stronger over time, and eventually you're like a rushing river because you know how to balance it, right? You know how to handle that container. You've learned the skills and you have the tools and you've trialed and errored on how this works for you, right? But right now you're just getting into it. So the thing is, don't try to rush it. Kind of give yourself over to it and know that you're building something with it. Between these two, right? You're learning to harmonize your intuition and your logic to support yourself in this journey that's changing you. It's what's the word I'm trying to find? Morphing? When a butterfly changes, you guys know, transforming. There we go. It's transforming you into whatever this will be, right? I don't know. Someone who moves differently in their truth, someone who honors himself differently and speaks and communicates their truth differently, and lives in that, right? Giving yourself over to that, but you're just starting to build this. So take your time, learn the ins and outs of it. Don't rush it. Always take your breath before you communicate, right? And remember that you're just human. So if one day this goes awry, you're trying to communicate, something goes awry, you're just human. It happens, right? We can't account for how others respond to us speaking our truth. We can only respond. We can only be not liable. We can only be responsible for how we deliver it. Beyond that, how it's received, that can be a discussion, but we can't be responsible for how that gets received by others, right? I have to do our best just to how we deliver it and how they see it and then discuss from there, right? So try your best, do your best, put your best out there, take a pause before you give truths. And yeah, I want to get one advice card or two. Advice, please, for, oh, there we go. We got the 10 of Bows and the 6 of Bows. This kind of makes me think like maybe not having spoken your truth has maybe been a burden. Not a burden, but it's been like heavy on you, even though you may have been like, it's okay, you know, I don't need to say that, I don't want to, you know. And this is kind of like being in this energy of now speaking it is allowing you to lay those sticks down. Even though it won't be an easy journey, right? This is not something that's going to be like, oh, I speak my truth. Ooh, no. It's a whole thing. It's a whole journey. It's a whole process. It's a whole learning. But it is the end of a cycle of some sort, leading you to a more fulfilling. It kind of makes me think of like, you know, like those, in a sense, like those who are meant to be around you will be around you, right? Like whether when you're your true self, those who are meant for you will find you, and those who are not won't, right? Or will go on about their way. And so it's almost like a clearing, right? Like you speaking your honesty lets you see who of those are your people and who of those are not, right? In that sense, you're more abundant because now you know what's what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm going to cite tangent. Those people who like, you know, fire you up, make you feel excited, get you going, energized. There's people who kind of take you down, make you feel tired. You leave the house and you're like, and you see them and you're like, yeah, okay. And then you go home, you're like, man, they're exhausting. Understanding who's for you and who's not by speaking your truth makes you, in a sense, more abundant, more wealthy in the sense of like connections, because you're building connections with honesty. You're building a solid foundation amongst those connections. And those people are your people, right? And the ones who aren't, they go about their way. And so you have this abundance in connections through being true to yourself and allowing others to be in their truth and building on that together. Those are kind of foundations that will last, right? So yeah, that's what I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was helpful. Yeah, this is really, 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 really cool. Really cool reading. All right. Bye.